All right. Thank you all for coming here today. Let us begin.
Okay. So before I start, the thing we have to come to agree with is what's the difference between a right and a law? So as Romans, our society is built off of strict rules and laws. But where do we draw the line when it comes to rights given to us at birth? So when five senators were brutally slaughtered without trial, that goes into infringing not only one's God-given laws, but also rights. So, I will be trying to prove that Cicero has broken these 5 senators' God-given rights by executing them without trial. That's all I got.
I come here today as a humbled consul, for I have been charged of a crime for merely following orders. As directed by the Senate, I rid our great country of traitorous individuals, something I hope all of you would have done if you were put in my senators.
In order to answer my questions, I will call Crassus to stand. So Crassus, you supported Catiline up until 63 BC, and then after, you decided to not support him. Can you state why you decided not to support him anymore?
Well, as a previous old acquaintance of Catiline and a supporter of him, he began after 63 to preach things I didn't agree with personally, with his stances towards the Senate in Rome.
So speaking of the Senate, as a former consul, how much power do you think the Senate should have in a situation like this?
The Senate, as a large group of elected officials, should have power, but outright power granted by the Senate to the consul seems excessive.
So if you say the power is excessive, in this situation, what would you have done with the 5 senators?
In this situation, I mean, the most basic thing you could have done was given them a free and fair trial.
That's all I have to ask you.
Alright. So what exactly did Catiline do for you to stop supporting him?
Catiline spoke a lot of Rome's problems and what it did wrong, and I think that Rome, as a previous consul, is very proud of where it is, and I didn't agree with what he thought of Rome's previous actions. And
So that's it? Just
yeah,
talking
I mean,
about it?
yeah, talking about it, I just really didn't agree with what he was saying, and didn't feel like it would be right for me as a public figure to support him if they weren't things that I thought were good for the Roman image.
Were you aware that he was conspiring with a number of other senators?
I was not.
So next, I would call Gaius Antonius Hybrida to the stand. So you were a co-consul with Cicero at this point in time, am I correct?
Correct.
So as a co-consul, was there anything you could have done in this situation differently?
Well, Cicero is obviously the more dominant force in the law at this point in Roman history. I think obviously I had some say in it, considering it's the consultum. So yeah.
So since you mentioned the consultum, were either you or Cicero aware, as consuls, that the STU was merely only authorizing you to use ultimate power? It wasn't an order to use ultimate power, just authorization.
I believe that's up to interpretation, but yes.
Speak louder, please.
That's up to interpretation, but is an authorization, which can be debated on whether it is an order or not.
So you say it can be debated on. How can it be debated on? If it's something authorizing power, but not explicitly giving the order to kill 5 senators without a trial, how can you say that it's that it's up to interpretation?
I mean, authorization and order are completely different things, obviously, and just because authorization is given doesn't mean that it should necessarily be executed, and no pun intended there.
That's all I have that question.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, cut?
So, did you feel obligated to carry out these executions?
I did not feel obligated.
And why not?
Because personally, I believe that an authorization is different from an order, which differs from Cicero view.
So, what do you think would be a punishable crime, or a punishment fit for the crime of plotting to overthrow the Roman government, which they are a part of?
Well, some would argue that a beating is more so of a punishment than death itself.
It's trash.
I will now call Publius Piso to the stand. So Piso, as you were close to Cicero, I must ask, did you in any way have a connection to this conspiracy?
No, I most definitely did not.
Good answer. So, you originally supported Cicero. Even in the letter, you said that he had nothing to worry about, but now you've changed that. So can you tell me what in his personality, in his mindset, and his goals made you change your stance?
Well, I changed my mind because I came around to the fact that the rights of Roman citizens and the laws of Rome take priority over my personal relations with Cicero.
So essentially you're saying that you would put Rome over your personal relationship with Cicero.
Yes, most definitely.
So to you, what would be more important in this situation? The rights of Roman citizens or Roman citizens following Roman law?
The rights of Roman citizens, they deserve full respect of the law and the government.
And how would you say the government has dealt with this, seeming that they put the law over the rights of citizens?
I believe that it was definitely wrong for them to simply execute them without any right to a trial.
That's all I have to ask.
So, you say you are a friend of mine.
I am.
And
Yes.
how are we acquaintances?
Well, I am currently consul and I am aware of many of your great accomplishments.
But that doesn't mean we're friends, correct?
Well, not necessarily friends. However, I greatly admire many of the things you did. However, this was something that I could not accept.
And how do you know exactly how I feel about what I've seen? How do you know me so well?
Well, I previously have said that you didn't have anything to worry about, and I know you, and I knew this. However, I have changed my mind.
I still do not understand how you know me so well.
We are both involved in the government.
I think you've brought up a stalker to this time.
So, now I bring up the Gaius Julius Caesar. May have heard of him. He's kind of a big deal. Yeah. So Caesar, you expressly stated that you were against these murders of the senators. Now, can you tell me why you were against these murders?
I was
Contain your emotions, I know it's hard.
I was against the Cicero over here because he didn't follow the right provocatio.
to those uneducated in the crowd, can you please explain the rights of provocatio?
Of course. Provocatio is the right to where Roman citizens have the proper trial before they get executed.
Now, not only is it the right that they get a proper trial, but it is the right that they are given a fair trial.
Yes, sir.
And they don't have to be necessarily executed after. Can find their innocence. So, is it safe to say that you believe Cicero was not only responsible, wrong, but he should have called a trial for these 5 senators?
He should have called a fair trial to these citizens.
That's all I have to say.
Can you please describe to me your idea of a Roman citizen? Your ideal.
My ideal of a Roman citizen? A Roman citizen, above all, must be treated fairly with the rights that are given to everyone.
I said how they are, not how they should be treated.
I beg your pardon?
How should a Roman citizen act? Describe your ideal Roman citizen.
They should act with the fairness of our country.
What else?
They should be great in their honor to Rome.
Okay, so should they plot to overthrow this country, this great
No.
country?
No.
And would you consider a person that conspires to overthrow this country a Roman citizen?
Were they natural born Rome?
Yes.
I'd say yes.
They
But
are
that does
free.
not give you the right.
I didn't know. What are you talking about?
Does it not give you the right to give a fair trial? You didn't give them a fair trial. You killed
Who
them.
are we talking about?
We're talking about the
Roman
conspirators.
citizens. No.
They are Roman citizens.
This is hypothetical.
They are Roman
They are
citizens.
threatening you and me.
Cicero, I've asked for the right to I've asked for the right to interject. So, in all honesty, your line of questioning is flawed at best.
Thank you.
So, the ideals of a Roman citizen is to stand up for what's right. So, these 5 senators, by plotting to overthrow what they see as wrong, they are plotting to change and make something better in their own eyes. Now, to your eyes, it might not have been something.
Overthrowing is not changing. It's getting rid of it. It's a difference.
May I please sit down? You died before me.
I will now call this stand Lentulus, the ginger warrior from the Celtic region. So Lentulus, you were the brother of one of the senators executed, am I right?
Yes, you're correct.
So, to what extent did you know about your brother's involvement in the plot?
I knew very little about it.
So very little. And how did you feel at the time of his execution?
I was really sad about it. It was bad that they would kill a Roman citizen without a fair trial. They just shouldn't have done that.
Do you believe the others involved in your brother's execution deserved a fair and equal trial?
They also deserved it, yes.
So, how did you feel as the crowd chanted and screamed after the news had broke that your brother and 4 other senators had been executed?
Very sad, and I did end up contacting the rest of my family about it.
That's all I have to say.
Is your hair naturally that color?
Yes.
For my last witness, I will call Solanus to the stand. So, Solanus, you were on record saying before Caesar's speech that you believe these senators deserved the harshest of punishments, even execution. And then after Caesar's speech, you changed your mind and said that the harshest of punishment could only be imprisonment. Can you explain yourself for your statement?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
So you've changed your viewpoint from saying that these senators should have been executed to the harshest punishment they should receive is being put into prison for the rest of their lives. Why, after Caesar's speech, did something strike you to change your mind?
Honestly, Caesar just like spoke to me, I guess. I just decided to take him on because of it.
What would it be about Caesar that spoke to you? Would it be his defense of the average Roman citizen, the defense of Roman rights, putting Roman rights above Roman law,
Yeah.
all of the above?
Pretty much.
So you could say that you truly do believe that the harshest punishment these senators should receive is imprisonment for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Mic drop.
So, why do you think imprisonment for the rest of the Roman's life is worse than death?
Because I think they need to be in prison to think about their actions, and like I feel like death is just giving them the easy part.
So they won't have to think about that in the afterlife?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You don't know? I feel like you just listened to whatever he was telling you to.
I don't know.
I would like to bring up the point of perjury on your part. If you look at what Mr. Solanus said, Mr. Solanus in no way, shape, or form said that you're trying to say that Mr. Solanus, my client here, has said he believes that imprisonment for the rest of his life is worse.
Speed it up, please.
It's worse than being executed. When in truth, all he's saying is all the senators deserved was imprisonment for the rest of
Well,
their lives.
after you asked him
Perjury.
what stood out about Caesar's speech, he didn't know until you suggested. He barely remembers it. What are the first three
It's
words?
been an emotional time for him.
What are the first 3 words in his speech?
Just come up with something. Pos coitandem abutero.
I become Cato to this day. Can you describe to me your ideal Rome?
My ideal Rome would be full of citizens that truly believe in their government and truly love where they live.
And what precedent do you think was set by the execution of the 5 conspirators?
I think it was a magnificent precedent. It allowed our citizens to realize that you cannot revolt against or try to overthrow our government, and it shows that we have a lot of power. And if we didn't execute them, then there could be possible lines of corruption where they could possibly continue their reign of terror. Horrible.
Please go sit down.
And what are the possible precedents that could be set by the outcome of this trial?
I believe that a lot of precedents will be set regarding interpretation of power in times of crisis for future Roman times.
How do you think future possible conspirators would feel if I was found guilty in this case?
Then they would feel a sense of protection that
All right. It's good.
Child's play. So in your first statement, you said that you believe the ideal Rome should be full of citizens who both respect and understand the law, correct?
Correct.
So then why in your second statement do you wish that all Roman citizens fear Roman law and fear overthrowing Roman government?
They should fear trying to destroy the place that many others love.
But if they knew and understood Roman law and respected it, they would give the right to the trial. So there's obviously something flawed in your statements. I don't know if that's on behalf of Cicero's argument or you, but I'll leave it there.
Alright, I would like to call it the Wikiyaka to the stand. Okay, so you belong to the Alabros tribe, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is your position in that tribe? Are you a lowly peasant or a noble?
I am a noble, yes.
Okay, so.
My father is a chieftain, of course.
Alright, so as an ambassador for your tribe, could you tell us your tribe's relationship to Rome?
Our relationship is very close, as you know. Because we have this oath to them, and I have made this oath to protect them, or if they come to protect us when we have enemies.
Okay. And so what did Lentulus tell you, and how did you react?
He told me that there was a conspiracy, and it was something funny. It was kind of funny because I didn't know what he was talking about, and I don't understand the Romans. Human culture is weird, and so I thought I should talk to you because I talked to you first, so might as well talk to you back again.
And why did you decide to react this way? And tell me.
Because you were a council. I trusted you were first, so I know you better. A few seconds more.
Your Honor, I see no fault in Wikiyata.
You
Don't touch me, savage. So,
this man is.
Your Honor, I see serious fault in Cicero's questioning. I feel as if Wikiyata is almost used as a pawn in an argument that's severely flawed. Why ask her what she thinks of Roman ideals? Why not look back into founders of Rome like Romulus and Remus? You asked what Rome looked like to her as a savage.
No, I didn't. I asked what was her relationship. And
Okay.
He's insulting my witness by calling her
I'm not
savage.
insulting.
Yes,
I'm saying.
he is.
Okay. Let's get to the point.
He
what I'm trying to get to.
Disgusting. See.
Why ask? It's just a pawn. These questions
I'm
are
not a
irrelevant. They
pawn.
don't lead to the
You don't
story.
even know the questions.
I do know the questions.
Okay.
No, you don't.
No.
Sit down. Thank you. All right. I'd like to call Gordiana to the stand. All right. I know that your brother fought for Catiline. What did he tell you about me?
My brother did fight for Catiline, and he told me that you were a corrupt, power-hungry murderer, but I don't think that he's right.
Your father also worked with me many times. And what was his opinion on
My father told me that you were a just and great leader, and told me that you would always follow the law.
Again, Your Honor, these questions have nothing to do with this argument. By you saying you don't agree with your brother or father, or your brother, why? There was no reasoning behind it. You just don't agree with him.
Because he decided to go fight for Catiline, so clearly his judgment was impaired.
You could say that, but then also here's the point I'm trying to get to. These questions have nothing to do with his case. They have nothing to do with defense. They have nothing to do with the integrity of his claims.
Okay.
That's it. All right. Fulvia, please come to the stand. What kinds of things did you hear from Curious about the conspiracy?
Well, we didn't get into detail or anything, but I just heard some general pieces about the conspiracy, like that there was a conspiracy to take down Rome, and that there were several important senators.
Okay, and so why did you decide to share this information?
Chris and I we were in an argument.
So what did you mean in an argument?
He was angry. He was a little violent, but that's
Oh my.
nothing. Yeah.
Again, these have nothing to do with defending innocence. All these are just trying to get you off topic and not see that he's guilty. His questions have nothing to do with his innocence, trying to prove his innocence, trying to prove that what he did
Alright.
was right.
Would you like to ask me a question?
No.
Solace to the stand. Alright. Why in your writing did you support me over Catalan, even though you really hate me, don't you?
Yeah, you are a jerk. Because Catalan was going against Rome, and I'm a Roman citizen, even though I am an ex-senator for my unjust doings, even though I liked it. Don't get me wrong. But I think Catalan was going against our state and was trying to ruin us and make it something extremely terrible, like a monarchy.
And so even though Caesar did help you, why are you against him and Clodius at this time?
Well, Caesar's just picking the wrong side here. It's obvious that you're safe because the senators are going against our state because our state's so great and they're going against it, which is wrong.
And how would you have wrote about oh my god. Caroline, if I didn't I'm sorry.
You were tripping on me.
If I didn't
Unprofessional.
It's better. I mean, it's cute, but it's better. You're off to a start. You can tell that I do this as a job and you're doing this to defend yourself. Again, questions don't add up, okay? This isn't a trial about whether Catiline is guilty of terrible conspiracy against Rome. This is a trial of whether the man asking just vague questions is guilty of killing Roman citizens without a trial, which he did. So
no question for me?
Absolutely not.
That's dope. Up here for nothing.
There's no argument to...
Oh, there's an argument.
Alright, Terentia.
Sit down.
So what were you told about the conspiracy?
I was told from my husband, because he is my husband and we talk about everything together. And you know, he knows that we've had close history with Cataline and everything. I was told that his act wasn't together like it used to be because he was being corrupt again. He didn't go into details about the conspiracy itself.
And so how did your husband seem to feel about the safety of Rome when he told you about this conspiracy?
He was very shaken given the past of Cataline, given the fact, the incident of abuse with my half-sister, a Westo version, Fabia. You know, he has very much an abusive past and he is very corrupt, so he was definitely worried.
Who was the he you were talking about that was very corrupt?
Oh, my dearest husband.
Your husband is corrupt?
Of course not. My husband was worried about the corruption going on with Cataline and the senators.
Just gonna let you know right now, I don't have any questions for you. If we think about this, she said that at one point in time she was worried for the safety of Rome. If we prioritize taking away the rights of our citizens against keeping Rome safe, then if there is a Rome saved, it will never be the same. You must respect the integrity of the rights of Romans and not the safety. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Well said. Well said.
Those are all my witnesses. Except. Alright, I call up, what's his name? Gaius Pompeius Marcus. Alright. So how would those people close to you describe you?
Describe me myself? Well, they're entitled to their opinions, but I would imagine that they would describe me as a general, as a leader of armies, as I am.
So how do you feel towards the Constitution of Rome? Are you strict, loose, in between?
I would say I would be more strict than anything. Following the law is very important then.
As a strict constitutionalist, how would you view my actions of executing Roman citizens?
Well, considering that you did get permission, that there was a serious threat going on at the time, that there was an entire conspiracy to throw out Rome, which would endanger its citizens, I would say you did your job.
So what was your impression of Catiline throughout the time his plot was exposed?
Well, he was never very trustworthy in any sense in the first place, but it obviously declined through the entire thing.
I mean, you call yourself a general. I would call you a few choice words instead. So, as a general, can you tell me, as you took your oath, who did you swear to fight for? Did you fight for Rome or those above you?
I swore to fight for Rome, although
No.
I was
No.
told
You
to
didn't.
swear
No.
to people above
No.
me.
You swore to fight under your leader and commander. So by saying this, at no fault of your own, you again became a pawn in this flawed argument.
What?
From Cicero.
I asked him no questions about him as a general. I
You
asked him
did.
as a Roman. I
As
know
a-
he
you
is
said
a
as a
general.
general.
I asked him how he felt about the Constitution, not as a general, as a Roman citizen. You don't make sense, bro.
I think I do make sense. Hold on.
You misunderstood
He makes
my
sense.
questions. Once again.
If you don't want me to misunderstand your questions, make them clear.
I have the
You're
right to
misinterpreting my answers for his question.
You don't want me to misinterpret your answers, make them clear.
No, just understand them.
Could you be
Alright.
any
Are you
more
going to
vague,
ask me
please?
questions? Sit down.
You're under my lead, Scott. Okay, come here. Join us. The good side.
Alright, let's go. Come on, it's time to talk to each other. Face to face.
You better get him, Claudius.
Hug it out. You can come back here. You can come to me. That's what you do. See, he came to me. He knows who's in charge. How can a man who knows that I'm in charge
What?
be found innocent? You came to me, sir. I could have easily come to you. You came
I
to me.
walked
Here's my fault in
to
you.
this position.
You go around the topic.
Around the what?
Around the fact that this trial is for you, not Catiline. I heard the word Catiline more than you.
Listen to this man.
Than
You
your
won't
name,
speak.
Cicero.
You won't let me speak.
This
have
is
no
my
argument.
30
You
seconds.
have no
You can
argument.
have yours after. Thank you.
Uh,
This is my 30 seconds. You can have yours
Back and
after.
forth.
Thank you.
Back and forth.
I don't even need it anymore. You arguing during my 30 seconds, if you're so bent on Roman law, you would follow my 30 seconds and the procedures.
So I have worked to prove how Catiline and his conspirators have forfeited their rights as Roman citizens by attempting to overthrow Rome itself, and not just harm Rome, but get rid of it completely and all the rights that we share as Roman citizens. And so as a consul during the SCU, I only did what I was told to by the Senate, and after long months,
What you were
many
suggested
months,
to do.
many
Not
months of-
told to do,
Many months
suggested.
of consideration. This wasn't just a, oh, I'm going to do it right now. I thought about this for many months. I decided to act on my feelings.
To your point.
Oh, that was my point.
Okay. Alright. Done. No more.
How dare you disrespect my Claudius? That's right.
right, we have a love affair.
Alright, so now
All you fruity. And can the jury have a moment to discuss?
it's quick. Do we have everyone circled? Where is the jury? Where are you guys circling
Jurors. The jury. Jurors. What?
Alright,
Jurors, we have to hear from
Yeah. Oh, that's WMC. Who is this?
second trial. Okay, I think so.
Yes. Yes, people.
You look like you have like
Just clutch that trial.
They wanted to kill you. The people you called citizens. People that he's calling citizens, they wanted to kill you guys. They would have killed you guys, but you're defending them after them.
Gotta look professional. Bro, what, bro?
There's an announcement going on. Katie.
Go for it.
Alright. The jury has come to a decision. Non facisse videtur.
Yeah, my right, baby. Actually,